In this video, we are going to cover how to map your recently uploaded revenue and usage report. Now, based on the data that you just uploaded into our system, you may have noticed that there was no report worksheet line mappings included. That is because all of the R&U accounts are mapped consistent with the general ledger patient revenue accounts. So the next tool confirms that all of the revenue and usage accounts correctly align with the general ledger. So under the revenue link, select Edit R&U Departments. So a review of the top section of this tool will reveal if there are any revenue and usage departments that do not correspond with the general ledger account. In this example, there are no unmapped revenue and usage departments. So what that means is all of the accounts that I just uploaded from my revenue and usage report align with the general ledger patient revenue account. But let's look at an example of where some R&U departments do not exist on the general ledger and how that would be handled. So in this example, I have unmapped departments in my revenue and usage report. These are the departments in the revenue and usage data without line assignments. So I've modified this data set so that the R&U account 706010 and 706170 do not have a corresponding line assignment in the general ledger. So what this tool enables you to do is to provide line assignments for the unmapped revenue and usage accounts so that they can be accurately aligned back with our patient revenue GL accounts. So in this instance, I know that 706010 goes to my OSHPD line 5. And I know the next line goes to line 45. So you'd enter in your correct line assignments and hit Save Changes. Once you've done that, you should now have no unmapped revenue departments. And what that previous tool did is essentially add some new GL patient revenue rules under the Edit Rules page. Now the bottom half of this tool is more for informational purposes and really just shows you some data inconsistencies within your revenue and usage report. For instance, we have some routine departments here with ancillary rev codes. Likewise, we have some ancillary departments with routine revenue codes. So this data is just presented to provide you with some insight within your R&U and possibly might require some additional research. The next tool under the revenue link is the R&U mappings. On this tool, you will define all of the data elements within the R&U to a standard so that the tools know what type of data it is working with. So the first thing we'll want to map is the admit type. So within the R&U in my example that I uploaded, I had an I and an O. Well, I need to map these to a standard because the tools don't know what these symbols represent. I know I stands for inpatient and my O stands for outpatient. Next, we'll have patient type. In my example, I only had one, acute. But your patient types might be if you had a SNF specific revenue and usage report or a psych specific revenue and usage report. You can define those different crosswalks that you may have uploaded. In my instance, it's just one total for the whole hospital, so it's mapped to the acute. Next, we'll want to map your payers. So these are all the financial class or revenue payers that I uploaded within this revenue and usage report. And I need to map them to an OSHPD standard. So my first one goes to the other payer column on the OSHPD report. Then I have Medi-Cal traditional, which is Medicaid traditional, and et cetera, mapping all of my payers to OSHPD standards. Once you've completed and mapped all of them, you'll want to hit Save and Apply. This step is really important because it essentially does two things. One, it saves all your changes, and two, it actually applies these standard mappings to your revenue and usage report so that our tools know what data it is working with. If you ever make changes to your RNU, as in you upload a new RNU or you append to an existing RNU after you have completed this step, you want to make sure you revisit this tool and reapply the mappings. Otherwise, you may not get the results that you're expecting. Once everything has been fully mapped and applied, you now have the ability to apply your patient revenues or to allocate your GL patient revenues based on the RNU payer allocations. What this will do is it will allocate all of the general ledger patient revenues by the revenue and usage payers to all the OSHPD columns. So to allocate your GL patient revenues by the RNU payers, you'll want to select this box and hit apply. Wait for the tools to apply the mappings and then export your data.